come to this place for magic. We come to the Bladtcast to laugh, to cry, occasionally be revolted, to pretend that you care. Because we need that, all of us. That indescribable feeling we get when the sound begins to prematurely dim, preserving that sacred runtime that is always measured in full minutes. And we go somewhere we've never been before. Not just entertained, but somehow reborn. Together. From musician interviews and unique movie reactions to stories about getting tossed off the Groove Cruise and rescued by the Canadian CIA. Dazzling conversation on tiny earbuds that repeatedly fall out, or a huge pair of Beats by Dre that never fit, but you spent $200 on them, so you wear them anyway. Sound we all can feel. Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Our hosts feel like the best part of us, and stories feel perfect and powerful. If you feel like you're part of the episode, it's because here you are. The Bladtcast. We make podcasts better.
Hey, cat! I'm Binky the Clown. Is this the home of Mrs. Edna Fogarty?
No.
I'm here to wish her a Hey, cat! I'm Binky the Clown. Is this the home of Mrs. Edna Fogarty?
No.
I'm here to wish her a happy 97th birthday!
If he does, Edna won't make 98.
Happy birthday, whoop-dee-doo, whoop-dee-doo. May your day be pleasant. Open up your present just for you, just for you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, whoop-dee-doo, whoop-dee-doo.
People who sing like that should be drug out into the street and shot.
Neither rain nor snow nor gloom of night, nor cat with bad disposition will stay this clown from his appointed rounds. Hey, cat! Smell my flower! I have to finish my birthday special. I have another house to do after this.
This is the Bladtcast, the show that tries to prove every year that you're never too old to throw yourself a birthday party. Celebrating with Christian today, Will Sterling, Liev, and Zia Anderson. And now, you know him, you kind of sort of like him, or at least tolerate him because you like everyone else. Here's Christian Blatt.
Oh my goodness, how exciting is it for me to be celebrating everybody's favorite thing, me. And as the great Farhad Muhammad said there in the intro, I am indeed joined by Will Sterling and Liev. Thank you, guys.
Rick,
Thank
I
you
saw
so
it
much.
5 minutes where I was like, does he know we're here? I was like, is this part of the show?
Yeah.
And then the
No,
Garfield
look.
clip started again, and I was like, wait a minute. Okay.
That's
Happy
the
birthday.
beauty. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That's the beauty of the live stream. You get to see all the stuff that, as we say, we fix in post. So yeah, I was spinning way too many plates at once. You know, I had my YouTube clip, I had my intro, I had a couple of intros, but enough about me. Look, it's Liev, everybody.
Yeah, no. Don't direct your attention towards me. It's all about you. Happy birthday. And I love that you have production for this fine piece of art that you have continued to do for just the right amount of time, which I think is...
Yeah, 11 years isn't too long, right, Liev?
Not long enough. Hopefully you go another 11.
Hopefully I'm still with us for another 11, because
if we aren't doing this on your last year of life, I'll be very disappointed.
Yeah, well, who knows? That could be this one. We never really know. Liev, how much do you miss us?
Very, very much so. How's everything? Is this something you do every day still?
The Bladtcast I don't do every day. I also do shows people actually watch. So, but I still do this one for fun. Yeah,
people watch this.
Yeah. No. There's definitely people watching, because you know, in the chat, our buddy Dominicus Saxon says he couldn't miss this one, and he doesn't think I'm pitiful at all. Maybe a little sad and desperate, but definitely not pitiful. So I appreciate that, because I did call this a not at all narcissistic and not even a little bit pitiful self-thrown birthday party. And yes, and he appreciated our buddy Katie Hampton's intro in the beginning. Glad to see Nicole Kidman is still getting gigs. And WTFG was all in on the Garfield Binky the Clown clip, which is a favorite for my kids around birthday time. And I decided that I would let it play, and then I stopped playing it. So I started it over, Will. You see the beauty of it, but of all the things we have to talk about, the most important is, of course...
yes, the Will Sterling novel.
Fame by Misadventure, that I have to keep really close to here. Otherwise...
On your birthday?
Well,
I don't want to take over your birthday.
What's a better birthday present for me than someone buying themselves Fame by Misadventure, the Will Sterling book? How many copies have you ordered, Liev?
17. 17 copies. I'm gifting them to everybody I know. You were one of them, so it looks like you already have yours. So damn it, looks like I have an extra copy for the restroom when I want to spend a little extra time in there, which I find myself doing frequently now that I'm married.
Yeah, it's a great masturbation read for sure, to keep it.
I was thinking what a novel idea it would be for Will to write a novel. So this is perfect. I saw that.
I just realized that my bell is out in the garage, and I can't go get it. It's there's already
no references to the genitals then.
Yeah, and Will really. By the way, Will, what a handsome avatar you have there on your YouTube chat. Look at that fellow.
It's synced up to my YouTube profile, so that's just like my headshot.
Yeah.
That's like my.
Well, you're a handsome son of a gun. That you just wanted to know what in Sam Hill was going on.
Yeah,
and yeah, you know, I was just trying to share some fun and mirth and celebratory. And we get a shout out from Lynn B. I have to, of course, put it up on the screen. The great Lynn B. Fans of the Dennis Miller Show will remember. Garfield. What's that?
Breakers that Lynn B. Gifted to me via Heather. Heather gave me the bag, who's given to you, then given to Heather, then given to me.
Yeah, keep those up there, because I want everybody to see them well. Yeah.
My icebreakers, ice cubes, pina colada flavored from Lynn B.
Ooh.
Well, I have an important question for you.
Yes.
Do you like pina coladas? Getting caught in the rain?
I like making love at midnight. I'll tell you that.
Oh, high five, Liev, right? Come on.
I haven't seen Midnight in a long time. I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Oddly, my younger wife has aged me.
Yeah, they do that. I'm 48 today, and I don't look a day over 70, so it's great, actually.
I was just about to say how young you looked, and then I found out it's 48, so never mind. I thought this was mid-50s.
I can't really read it because of the clown, but it does say made in 1976, and Jason Blair is even in the chat. I've made the somewhat unwise decision to let people know that if they slide into my DMs, I will send them the link to come on towards the end of the show, and it's pretty much open to anyone. So I've never done that before, and I thought it could be fun, but probably a disaster. Which that's the way you usually describe the Bladtcast. Kind of fun, but usually a disaster.
It sounds like you're going to get a bunch of Drake pictures.
At
least that's what I would do if I were to slide into somebody's DMs and be invited into their.
When you popped in, it was after our wonderful AMC style intro from my pal Katie Hampton, and in it references both the Groove Cruise and the Canadian CIA. So two of your greatest hits from the same story, actually in a piece of production we have for the show, Liev.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So people, hashtag never forget the Groove Cruise.
Why is your birthday celebration this year not as diverse as it normally is?
Some people said no. Yeah.
So Ken said no.
I felt bad that the only time I ever asked Ken is on my birthday. So I'm like, I'm gonna do a show. Coltrane and I've been meaning to do this for a while, where we sit down and go over the Casey Anthony documentary series on Peacock. So I felt like that wasn't it for today. And the great Farhad Muhammad is in the chat. I almost put him in timeout by trying to bring his quote up. Thanks for the shout out. Of course, the great Farhad Muhammad provides us with all of our show announcing. Now, Liev, you only have about 10 more minutes, right? I just want to.
I got about 4 more minutes.
You got about 4 more minutes.
Yeah.
So you don't want to. You don't like to come on here. Well, first of all, you don't like to come on here. Second of all, you are not interested in promoting anything, because there is a thing that shows up on your YouTube that I find interesting, but if you don't want to plug it, you don't want to plug it. I don't want to promote anything. Yeah. Your love for me, right?
That's it. That's why I come on here. And I might be leaving California soon, but we'll have that conversation off video. So we'll have to get together.
Yeah, well, one of the three of us is definitely leaving. Isn't that true, William?
I am leaving California. That's true.
I think we're headed in the same direction.
Are you really?
I believe so.
I'm not moving to Amarillo, Texas, so I think you're going to be on your own.
Oh, never mind. I was going down to help them with the border. You're not going too?
No, me and Gary. What's the governor?
I thought all the whites were doing that. Were we not all supposed to get together? Did we not all get that memo?
Liev, I don't know why you would go down to the border to help. It's working perfectly. It's working according to plan. So I actually don't know what you're talking about. Well, Liev,
no, Texas is not the destination.
Okay. Well, I figured it was a vax optional state, but we don't need to talk about that. My question is that I know you need to leave. And one of the things that I wanted to take some time to do while we celebrate me, it's a sort of an extension of that, is celebrating the Bladtcast. And I've had these sitting around for a very long time. I did an episode with Carl from Who Are These Podcasts where we listened back to Bladtcast number 1. And we played some clips from it. Will and I will spend some time with some Will-centric clips. But I've got 3 Liev clips. None of these are going to get you canceled.
Okay.
They're all very funny.
I
know I need to tell you that they're not going to get you canceled.
Look, these are from. Can we preface it? These are from 2013. Like even Kevin Hart got canceled for saying something in 2013.
Just give me a thumbs up if you hear it when it's playing. I'm really bad at this stuff. Okay, so this is going to be from the end of Bladtcast episode 1. When I turn to you.
Well, we're doing the antithesis of guy talk because you're going to rant and rave for.
Did you not hear anything either, Will?
I can hear it.
You heard it. But Liev
I have so much power here. I can really screw with you for a very extended period of time, but I did hear it. I'm just messing with you.
Okay. Well, great. So now you're going to be a minute late to your next thing because I'm going to start it over.
Now I can't hear it for real.
Anesthesia mean?
So
did I ruin everything?
I think you did ruin everything, but it's all right. So let's
go.
Let's try it again.
Well, we're doing the antithesis of guy talk.
I didn't really want to hear me anyways.
Rant and rave for exactly 60 seconds.
Oh, I can't hear you at all.
What does
swear to God
anesthesia mean?
Shoot, I'm the boy who cried wolf.
So, Will, you heard those clips every time.
I can't hear you.
Yes, Liev's just trying to ruin the bit by talking over the clip constantly. I believe it. I mean, you can just play it with him.
I mean, it's fine. It's really for us. You know, it's like we want to enjoy these things, and it wasn't the Bladtcast if we weren't spending time the Tebow way with our Tebow time segment.
The future third string quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, Timothy Tebow. This is Tebow time.
Could be Arizona Cardinals. Several teams would want Tim Tebow. Obviously, the Broncos are still in deep regret and crying that they got rid of Peyton Manning, or they got rid of Tim Tebow for Peyton Manning. What a huge mistake on their part. Wasn't that great? Did you see that game?
Yeah, they did not go as far in the playoffs as they did.
No. How many playoff games did Tim Tebow win last season?
Did he win 1 or 2?
He won 1.
Yeah.
How many did Peyton Manning win?
This year, I believe he won none.
And how many interceptions did Tebow throw in a playoff game?
Well, if he doesn't throw the ball, you can't really have any.
He threw several. He threw for over 300 yards that game. Thank you very much. With no interceptions. Peyton Manning threw 2 interceptions.
Wow. So where does he go? Where does your boy Tebow go?
Any team would be smart to take Tim Tebow, obviously. Florida would probably, any of the Florida teams would be smart to take him because that would skyrocket their ticket sales. But gosh, I'm even thinking the Patriots would be interested in Tim Tebow after Brady's performance in the last game.
All right, that has been Tebow time with David Bujenski.
Now, this is before you made the production, which I love that Tebow time production. You know, another time when you're on, we will revisit the production. But you stand by those takes on Tim Tebow from 11 years ago, right, Liev?
I'm quite prophetic. How do you say that word? Somebody smarter.
You got it.
Yeah,
okay.
You got it. It was close enough.
Yeah, I still stand by those words, even though Manning went on to win the Super Bowl the next year, and Brady obviously went on to win 2, 3 more.
Couple more. One in Tampa. Yeah. So.
But no, somebody should have picked up Tebow. I don't even know what he's doing. It's something with Jesus.
He's not a commentator. I thought if Matt Leinart could do it, I figured Tim Tebow could do it, but I guess that's not the case, huh?
No, he's doing organized religion stuff, which coincidentally making more money doing that than he would in the NFL.
That sounds
organized religion.
sounds like the best scam there is. Well, listen, Liev, I know we need to let you go. And I think that we're going to have to start a text thread where the three of us plan the only place that we can get together, which is, of course, Rock and Brews. I still have like $300 on a gift card to that place. So,
how is that possible?
Because I went that one time with you guys and I haven't been back. So that's how they're not really close. Yeah. So
for your birthday, I'm getting you a $10 gift card to Rock and Brews.
I love it, and we'll have fun. And Will, your move is like summertime ish. Is it in flux or is it a hard and fast date?
It's in July, a little flux, but I'm going to be making some trips and visiting some people July, and then I'll make my drive out there to try to get up there like late July.
Can you say where you're going, or have you already?
Oh, he's said,
New York.
New York, yeah. Okay, we're gonna be we'll be close, I think. But we'll talk later about that.
We could both move to New York and move to the same part of town, down the street from each other, and I still believe that I would never see you.
The only time that you guys would see each other is if I'm in town and I really push us to all get together.
That's correct.
I disagree. I disagree because that's a completely different dynamic there in New York City in trying to see friends. And that is, you don't have to drive however far. It's not even the distance, it's the traffic. Coming to see, like, we can walk anywhere in New York and get there quicker than we could going 2 miles on the 91, 405, 101. Name your freeway here. So, yeah.
Well,
but
Liev, are we gonna have time to do another podcast on your rooftop and then go to an Angels game drunkenly afterwards?
For the protection of my marriage, let's find another activity. No, she's going out of town soon. Yeah, we could do it.
Perfect. All right.
She's got a bridal.
Well, don't look for Liev anywhere. Don't try and follow him. Don't message him. Don't send him dick pics. He definitely doesn't appreciate those.
Find me lurking in the shadows, staring at Drake's picture.
And of course, don't send him vag pics because those really gross him out. You know. Anything else that we need to have you tell the people while we're still here, Leah?
Good to see you, Will. Congrats on your book. Happy birthday, you big guy, you.
Thank you so much, Leah. I appreciate you making about 18 minutes for us. It really means a lot to me.
That's 17 minutes longer than I wanted.
Exactly, but that is your desired age for your second wife, right there.
Okay, goodbye.
Oh my gosh, there was so much going on in these first 20 minutes. Will, thanks for just buckling in and riding along with me. And
guy gets married, and he's you know, I love the subtle hints of the things he can and cannot do if his wife is around. Which you know, I get it. Hard drinking is a harder thing to keep up the older we all get. So
right, no, exactly, and like I figure, I don't legitimately. I want to try and do a little setup in a corner at Rock and Brews and actually like record a podcast when we're there, and then I want that to be the moment where you explain that you don't drink anymore, because he's not gonna be able to wrap his head around that. Because
he doesn't know.
I don't know, because I think you
follows my social media things.
Have you seen him since then? Because I don't know how closely he follows.
No, since the
boots on the ground, or which also turned into my forehead on the ground.
Boots on the ground, boots in the park, forehead on the ground. Yeah, I guess that's the last. Or did we get dinner together after that?
We did. We went to BJ's. Yeah. That's right, in Anaheim Hills.
Well, that was the last time.
Now that Liev is stepped away, I wanted to show you this great Kiss birthday cake picture that I found.
I was seeing it in the background as you were cycling through videos, and I appreciate that you've got the fox in there.
I love the fact that there's one with Eric Carr in makeup, but also with Ace, because then we don't have to look at the stupid onk, you know.
Well, it's really the gift that keeps on giving. Anytime you can get Vinnie Vincent to do anything.
That's true, but honestly, who do we care about more than the fox right there? You know, I think that's where it really comes.
I feel bad. I got you a birthday present, but it's actually that unreleased Vinnie Vincent box set, and I bought it for you like probably 13 years ago, right after we first met, and it's still on its way, so it'll get there eventually.
That, you know what? That's not your fault that I don't have it. That is, of course, Vinnie Vincent's fault. And you're not the only one who's gotten burned by that, William. You know, so I think that that is quite all right. And I've got my first taker on jumping in on the live stream. It's a good friend of the podcast that we all know. So if he jumps in, that'll be great. And if not, it's okay. So yeah, we've been doing shows like this for kind of a while, and there was only so much that I could do to try and get people, and I wanted to, I don't know, I haven't talked to some people in a little while. I didn't want to reach out to everybody and have it be like, hey, how are you doing? Can you come on my birthday show? Liev, that's literally what I did. I don't care about that. That's easy, you know.
Yeah.
But
in
any case,
you can actually see him as if you make him feel a little bit bad about missing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But he's only got 15 minutes.
He never has more than 10 or 15 minutes. Listen. Yeah. I imagine that we are both very busy people. He does not have 2 children.
That's true. He has Moo, but that's basically it. Yeah.
Doesn't he have a second dog too? Didn't he get another dog?
That's a good question.
But anyway, he seems to be the most busy person, and I refuse to accept that. I think that we are all equally busy. I don't understand why he can't give us a full hour.
Yeah, well, he literally has a meeting at 1:30, so
doesn't matter.
It's true. He should cancel it. But maybe that. So I want to take a moment to talk about Fame by Misadventure, which I have not had a chance to read yet, so we're not going to talk about the book. But I want to talk about how everyone should order the book, because not only will you inscribe it, but will you write on the package?
Oh yeah,
and so it's this nice purple bubble wrap. And do you remember what you wrote on mine, on my package?
It was a note from the Swami about his book Journey Home.
The Journey Home is about my travels, and it's available on Amazon also. That's what
I
you
couldn't
wrote.
remember.
And
I couldn't remember
I
the
no,
exact
no,
quote.
it's fine. I appreciate
Yeah,
that. And
available on Amazon also is the special moment.
and I want everyone to know that I didn't ask Will for a freebie. I didn't even ask him like, oh, can I get a digital freebie? I went to the website and I paid for it happily. And I bought the signed version because Will, if I'm going to have Will Sterling's book on my bookshelf, I don't want it not signed. You know what I'm saying?
And I realized too, I'm like, now we're talking about on your birthday show. I'm like, I should have given you a copy for your birthday. I didn't think about that. I don't know who's ordering. Well, I get the confirmation order pops up and I'll see someone's name that I know. And I'm like, oh, like you also live in LA. I could have just like handed it to you. But
I know. I thought about all of that, but I wanted it to show up in whatever the delivery system is. I actually didn't expect to get it so quickly. I was very excited.
It's like next day or day after, I think.
Yeah. Jason Blair, this was a comment from a little earlier. He sees that none of us washed away with the rain. Whew. I'm going to have to say the rain, people make fun of LA because we can't handle rain, but when it rains the way it did the last few days, it's crazy. And as with every time it's rained that heavy in the last couple months, that's of course exactly when our heat stopped working. So,
so we were out this thing.
Yeah, we were huddling around. Space heaters, basically. We like let the kids have them in their room, and So, by the way, I did not see this until right now. Lynn B has purchased her copy. Is that what? Did you say that earlier that you were sending her one, or is this news to you?
This is news to me. She might have gotten it through Amazon. I haven't seen her name pop up from my website. It's like I have only so many copies here at home to sell individually. Yeah. I can get more from the publisher, but so I'm kind of toggling between encouraging people to buy on my site or just order it on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, Walmart. It's on a lot of websites, surprisingly.
And Amazon also.
Right. And I was like, oh, it's like pretty much anywhere you can buy books online, it's available.
Dominicus Saxon is ordering this afternoon if he can find the link. But you've like tweeted it out, you've posted on Instagram, right? I mean, it's easily found, right?
It's just that. It's very easy. WillSterling.me. Go there and you can order your copy.
Yeah. Corby, thank you so much for wishing me happy birthday. It's always great to hear from Corby. And I couldn't look at the chats while Liev was here because, it's literally lightning in a bottle. And it was great that, of course, he fucks around and pretends that he couldn't hear the clip and then he couldn't actually hear the clip. And I'm like, all right, that's really par for the course,
Yeah.
Farad Muhammad found out the Pina Colada song was the number one song the day he was born. Don't know what to do with it. It's better than it being the number one song the day you were conceived, because then that means that there might have been, perusal in some of the back page ads, as it were. Jason Blair's not interested into sliding into anything of mine. That's fine. And our buddy Mark Hunt also wishes me a happy birthday. Now, it'll be our next episode for the audio audience, but we've recorded a kind of a roundtable talking about the Doctor Who specials on Disney Plus. Have you had a chance to watch those, William?
I haven't. I was in Florida in December and somebody had Disney Plus already logged in. And I was like, oh, this is a great opportunity. But I want to see the last special with Jodie Whittaker first. I think so. I watched that. And then I ran out of time and I didn't get to watch any of the David Tennant ones. And now I don't have Disney Plus at home and I haven't seen them. So I have to find a way.
All right. Well,
I have to find a way to get copies.
We can talk about that. We can figure that out. And also, I love this idea from Farad. You kids and leaving California. He's only been here a couple years, and he's like less traffic for him, and appreciate that. And this is a great point from Jason Blair. Everyone's going to be living near Bach Toyota off of Route 1.
Right.
So we appreciate that. And Jason Blair, I actually forgot this. Tebow did go to the Patriots, so you're right. He also went to the Mets. He played in their minor leagues, yeah, but it was just the minor leagues. And Jason Blair making the point, nothing screams Upper East Side like Liev. And I agree with that. And it's great to see Cami Egan is here. And I'm going to leave this one up for a while. This is how people know how to go and find the
or your copy. Let's see the comment section. I want you to say, I just ordered my book.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The first person who says in our comments that they ordered it, Will's going to add an extra smiley face in the inscription. All right. Well, that's an extra smiley face for somebody.
Smiley face or a penis, whatever you like.
Yeah.
I did have a if I could draw a penis inside, and I said I'll draw. Yeah.
I'll draw two. So Jason Blair says, I didn't realize Will could see who ordered his books. Sorry for all the purchases by Seymour Butts.
It's okay.
Jason Blair makes the point. No Disney Plus. How do you watch Bluey? I mean, Bluey is, it's enjoyed by parents everywhere, but it's not necessarily for anybody. And my buddy Tom Kelly says that he's going to order it with a penis if he hasn't already. And I don't know if that means that Tom is using his member, if you will, to type on the keyboard. That's what I'm hoping is what it means. Anyway, I wanted to just get caught up on all of that. And, it was basically, I figured it was just going to be me and you today, and that was going to be fine. There's always other people who could pop by, and Liev was one of them. Liev's great to have show up like that, like 20 minutes in after you've been able to lay down, some kind of foundation. But then when he's at the beginning, oh my God, it's exhausting,
Truly
But let me ask you, Will, how are you? How's everything going?
I'm good. I'm the book is really the big push right now. I'm putting the finishing touches on the audiobook, which I produced myself. And that will come out ideally the same day as the actual book launch, which is March 5th. And then shooting a film kind of through end of February through April. And I'm really just trying to get all my ducks in a row creatively and professionally and personally before I depart from California, which is will be bittersweet.
Sure, you've lived your whole life in California. You know that. I'm telling everyone else. I know you know that. But
I do.
I know, and it's like, it's going to be so long before there's any more DC movies. I'm like, I won't be seeing a DC movie again with Will. I said this after Aquaman 2.
Oh yeah,
the Shadows. I was like, we may never see another one together. It just might not work out.
What the next one is? What, Superman next summer or the following summer?
Yeah, I feel like that's got to be the following summer, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah, I guess. But that's my question. Is that's the first one though, right? I think that's the first
and
one.
They're doing like location scouting now because I follow James Gunn on a number of platforms, but I saw it. Actually, I saw it on Threads. Remember Threads, everybody?
Oh,
and
is that still a thing?
Yeah, and by the way, Dominica Saxon figured it out.
Email.
Sorry, what was that? Go ahead and say again what you just said. Well, sorry.
I was going to say also in my email, Dominica Saxon popped up, so he got his book. It's on the way.
It's on the way. willsterling.me. I am not. That is not ME. So anyway, one of the things that we did briefly with Liev is this kind of idea that I've had for a long time, and we've done a lot of shows where I say to you towards the end, it's like, oh yeah, and we got to do that thing where we listen to clips from the first Bladtcast. Now I did that for our 10th anniversary, and we're now a little bit past our 11th anniversary. So that's how long it's taken, and I felt like, by the way, Cam Egan with the insight. Superman is next summer, July 2025. I think when Will was saying that, I didn't have in my head that this is 2024, even though simple. So yeah, that actually makes sense because if they shoot it, I don't know, they say they start in March, April, they shoot it for 5-6 months. There's still plenty of time to get the post done, So
by the way, it almost seems intentional that they're like 4th of July release. No, we'll go the week after.
Your week
Superman
after
July, can't imagine it. Has to be the week after.
Yeah, it has to be. Well, we've gotten you a few copies right here, Will. So I feel like this is more than enough of that. But a big celebrity guest joining us now, the voice of the Bladtcast himself, Farhad Muhammad. Hello, sir. How are you?
Sorry. Yes, of course.
Oh, my goodness. How are you, kind sir?
I am doing pretty well. Happy birthday there, Christian. Great to see you again, Will.
How are you? It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been a long time. Yeah, just adjusting to life here in Southern California. And, just doing all different sorts of cool things online, as well as looking for a job at this point here. But anyway, that's about it. But yeah.
Well, but so we've talked to you in the past about the trivia app that you've been involved in, and it seems like it comes and goes. There seem to be some issues with it, but it appeared to me that you were doing some stuff in recent weekends with that. And my apologies for forgetting the name of the app. So take a moment and talk about that.
Sure thing. It's well, thank you, Dominica Saxon. There, very nice.
Yes, the man with the laugh, identified as Conan O'Brien's favorite guy. Yeah.
Yes, indeed, very much so. But no, there was this app called HQ Trivia that was out and about back in like the late 2010s, and it managed to catch on pretty decently. It was like the best-selling app of 2018 or something along those lines there. But it managed to fall into some hard times. The original host of the app left, and then one of the people who created the app died, and everything like that. So it was a rather sort of bad situation all around, and it kind of like fell into it kind of just stopped broadcasting games entirely. At around late 2022. Basically, you're given 12 questions. If you answer all 12 questions correctly and move on to the next round, you then end up winning a portion or winning all of a pot of money there. So it's like if you're the only one who answered all 12 questions correctly, you get all of it. But if you're not, you get some of it. But anyway. It was like featured on television. There's been a podcast about its rise and fall. There was a documentary on CNN that later went on to HBO Max that was talking about it as well, called Glitch. And then so after all of that was over, a group of fans took over the servers of the app and tried to put up some games. And so back in 2023, I did one episode of HQ Trivia, and I think there was like a hostless version of HQ Word, just kind of like a Wheel of Fortune type game. And then it got shut down. So the year afterwards, we found a way in order to kind of circumvent those servers, and we're now putting up little test games and stuff. And I did do one game back in late January of this past year, so about a few weeks ago, but unfortunately the game glitched out at around like question number 8 or something like that, so we didn't get to finish that. But we're still doing test games, and hopefully I'll be able to do a full game where everybody can be able to play and win and everything like that directly. So yeah, that'll be happening within the next several days, if I'm not mistaken. There, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And also Farad is a great follow on social media. You always seem to take the time to reflect on celebrities who pass away, and there have been a few recently.
Yeah.
Are there any that for you were? I mean, it's different when it's a celebrity. It's not upsetting like a family member. But are there any that come to mind of? That one was a surprise. That one was rough. You don't strike me as a big Toby Keith guy, but maybe I'm wrong. No.
No, I don't think anybody in my family were big Toby Keith fans. I mean, I ate his bar and grill, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But no, I think Carl Weathers was like the major one there. I was really, I really enjoyed his screen presence. He was great as Apollo Creed. He was fantastic doing comedy work over on Arrested Development and everything like that. So, and whenever I see him on screen, I was always pleased to see him there. When he was on The Mandalorian, I thought, oh, Carl Weathers, fantastic. So yeah, it was a bit of a shock and quite sad that he passed away. And also, Carl is also one of those celebrities that share a same birthday as me. Obviously not the same age, but it's the same date on the calendar. And so whenever my birthday would roll around, I would always wish a happy birthday to like people like Justin Bateman and Jason Bateman. Jason Bateman, Jason Bateman, Faye Dunaway, LL Cool J, and Carl Weathers. And I have one person fewer to wish happy birthday to next year, but at least I managed to wish him happy birthday this year. So I mean, I don't get any responses from them, but it's just a tweet I just send out. But yeah, it was. But yeah, so that was kind of unfortunate there, but yeah.
Well, talking about Carl Weathers, I do want to ask you about that, Will, because we've talked about on the Bladtcast that you and your friend used to do Rocky Day. You would watch. There were less Rocky movies back then because this was pre-Creed. I mean, there were still a good number of them, but now there's like 3 more.
5, and then there was Balboa, and now there are 3 more additional.
Yeah. And so I feel like you haven't done that in a little while because it's so many movies now, right?
Yeah, and I don't get up there every summer. I mean, that was kind of like a youth. Yeah. We did 10 years in a row, which is actually very impressive to think that I spent 10 summers being able to do that. But it's been since I was in my 20s, I think, now at this point.
Right.
So,
So,
about 5 years ago. Gotcha. Yes.
so Will, talk about, obviously Carl Weathers is such an important part of those movies, at least the first 4,
Yeah. I actually, very sadly, I was watching, I rewatched Creed 3 on a plane recently. And I was like, okay, I understand that Carl Weathers, obviously, as Apollo Creed, has been dead for a long time, but how could we get him in a cameo in part 4? You know what I mean? Like, how could we feature Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed? And in my mind, I had it worked out. And I was like, there's a dream scenario. If they, they want to call me and they ask, what are my ideas for Creed 4? I said, this is how you get Carl Weathers in the movie. Would have been great, but can't now.
It's not to be.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. So, go ahead, Farhad. No, please.
There was a slight aside to that in regards to Creed 3. I'm actually in Creed 3 as an extra.
Look at that.
It's one of those blink and you miss it sort of appearances. I barely saw myself there, but yeah, it's like during the last fight or something like that. You could be able to see like me looking all angry and stuff, going yeah, something like that off to the side. And
was that filmed at Dodger Stadium?
No, that was filmed at the studio. At least my scenes were, but I think it's the fight at Dodger Stadium there. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I assumed most of it was digital, but I didn't know if they shot anything in the location there. So,
if they did, I wasn't a part of those because I think I was part of the reshoots. So all that was done like a studio, like way off in like the close to the northern part of Los Angeles County. So, or maybe not the northern part, but definitely past the mountains of the valley. Going north.
Knowing now with like AI and technology, I can almost guarantee they probably never set foot in Dodger Stadium either.
That's great. That's a great.
Keeps the cost down,
Yeah. They just had to license the image of it, and then they just digitally did everything. So.
Precisely. Yeah.
So I obviously, Farhad, we always appreciate you taking the time to come on. And Jason Blair had mentioned looking forward to the Rocky multiverse, the Rockyverse, as it were. But it's always I always check to you for any goings on in late night. And have you checked the new version of At Midnight that I think they just call Midnight? I know that's on CBS now after Colbert. So I always want to get your thoughts on the late night scene, Farhad.
Well, I haven't been able to really get a chance to check out After Midnight. I understand that the host is very, very funny. I remember seeing her. I think her name is Taylor Tomlinson.
Correct, that is her name. Yes.
Yeah, she performed over at one of the a few like live performances that Conan O'Brien did when he was touring all over the country, and I thought she was hilarious. And so I'm really glad that she was able to find a network gig. But but from what I understand, it's not really going as well as people were hoping. But that's not really at the fault of the host. It's more at the fault of the network and everything like that, because they're trying to take a show that was made for basic cable and put it on a network, put it on a television network, and so there's always going to be these restrictions and everything in terms of what people can say, and so it doesn't really have the same amount of bite to it that it did when At Midnight took place on Comedy Central. So I'm hoping for the best. I really hope that that they can be able to find a way in order to make that show a success. But at the same time, I'm also kind of saddened by the fact that the Late Show the franchise had to stop with James Corden of all people. But I'm hoping that if things do not go well with After Midnight, that they could probably do a revamp of the Late Show and bring in a new host or something like that, or maybe have Taylor the host of the.
Do you have someone in mind to be the new host? I mean, my first choice is of course Farhad Muhammad.
Well,
who's number 2 on your list?
Well, I mean, I definitely would not want to include myself just yet because I haven't had enough time in order to really host it. But I do think that like some of the new comedians that are out there, like Megan Gailey or Joe Kozala or somebody like that could really make the show their own. I would really love to see Scott Rogowski, who used to host HQ Trivia, to take over that role as well, because I know that he's a big fan of like late night talk shows, especially Letterman's shows there. Yeah. So. There are a few names out there. The major one though, I think that would be really excellent for that show would be Roy Wood Jr., especially given the fact that he left the Daily Show because they weren't going to make him a host of the show. So, but no, I would definitely love to see Roy Wood Jr. host that show as well.
Shelley Long left to make movies. David Caruso left to make movies. So, not every career, not every time should you bet on yourself to the extent that people do. I couldn't disagree more with Jason Blair. Waiting for the Queen of the Late Late Show with Craig Kilborn. Yambo Craig's 5 questions. The 5 questions bit was good on the Daily Show. But, it was always bits like, and now it's time for Craig looks across the bar and sees someone that he thinks he knows, but then realizes that he doesn't. Right. It was always like these really long titles. And I was not a big Kilborn fan. And that is one of those instances where you leave a gig and you get replaced by somebody who's infinitely better than you twice. John Stewart. And then Craig Ferguson.
So, another Craig also. That's
that's another. Maybe your buddy Craig from History Rated R should be hosting a late night show, William.
That's a good point. Maybe he would.
Well, Farhad, I know that you know an awful lot about struggling late night show hosts because of you were dyed in the wool, true and through for of course Conan O'Brien. And recently a show that I do on the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel called Who Are These Broadcasters, we had Jackie the Joke Man Martling from the Howard Stern Show. We had him on as a special guest, and it gave me an excuse to revisit Conan's appearance on the Howard Stern Show with the Jackie puppet, voiced by Billy West. Are you familiar with this appearance, Farhad?
I am not. That's
oh my gosh.
I'm
all right. Well, this is going to turn into the rest of the show. No.
All right,
I'm just going to do a little bit of it. So idea of there's a puppet of Jackie Martling, who was, a writer and the sort of in-studio comedian for the show for a very long time. And Conan is a tremendous sport in this segment. I'm not going to, dive through it as much as I would love to, especially I just assumed, of course, Farhad had seen this. Is this something that sounds familiar to you, Will? This doesn't seem like it would be on your radar.
No.
Yeah. So they don't go easy on Conan in this, and it's in a moment in time. I can't remember. I think it's like 95. So it's at a point where my memory was the show was on late night was on reasonably good standing. It was on good footing. Like once Letterman was on, it seemed like the show was going to be doing okay. And I don't know. So there was a lot of things swirling around. There were ideas. There were people at NBC who I think wanted to replace him with Greg Kinnear, who they had under contract, which I think that's the way NBC thinks. It's like, why don't we replace a guy with another guy that we already have, that we're already paying? It seems that they would follow that for a while. And they don't. The Jackie puppet, again, voiced by the great Billy West, who people know from Futurama, Ren and Stimpy, and M&M's commercials and lots of other things. So the Jackie puppet does not give Conan even a chance to sit down.
We'll make our own noise.
All right, bring in Conan.
They're Barney hats.
Yes, they're Barney hats. My kid loves
There's Conan walking down the hallway on a separate camera.
I dig Barney now because
very handsome, young Conan O'Brien.
Where's Conan? Come on in. Look at you. We got a big party going here. Big farewell party for you. How is that, pal? You love that? Here you go. Say hi to the Jackie puppet, Conan.
Jackie. Oh, that's very good. Conan, oh, bye-bye.
So, again, he doesn't even have his headphones on. And he's already called him Conan O'Bye-bye. So the fact that Howard's talking about how they're throwing a party for him, they're throwing a cancellation party for him because and the Jackie puppet really gets some good stuff in, and it's sort of very funny because Jackie talks about how he would write insults for Billy to read as the Jackie puppet, and oftentimes they were insults for the puppet to say back to actual Jackie. So he's like having an argument with himself while he's like writing these jokes and handing them up. But you can definitely feel for Conan. And when Conan had Howard Stern on his Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, he talks a lot about that experience. But look, I would not have been able to handle being in the sights of the Jackie puppet. But Conan was a good sport back then, and can certainly laugh about it after what turned into it wasn't quite a 30-year career in late night, was it, Farhad?
Just about. No, he left it around like late 2021, so it was a good mid 2021, so it was about a good 28, 27 years in late night there. Yeah.
Right, somewhere in that range. But and you, of course, have the distinction of having been to his first Tonight Show and then his last ever TBS show, right?
Correct. Yeah, I went to both. I wasn't all too sure if I was going to make it into the TBS show, but I did have a reservation for the first Tonight Show, so I knew I was going to go to that, and I waited like 17 hours in line to be a part of that Tonight Show audience. And while a lot of people might think of that as a bit of a waste of time because I already had a reservation, I just wanted to make sure I had a good seat, and I ended up being like the first person in line, so that really helped out. But no, so yeah, both of those experiences were special in their own way. I mean, to see to see Conan's like last moments doing late night television was definitely an experience.
Yeah, I went to one taping of the Tonight Show with Conan, and Dana Carvey was the guest. It's just the way it worked out. It was great. Beautiful. So that was kind of perfect. Jason Blair, move Leno to 9 o'clock, Conan to 10, and Kinnear to 11:30. NBC exec gold. I don't know if he's talking Eastern time or Central time, but either way, that's a brilliant plan for how to move forward. Well, Farhad, we're going to bid you adieu, but of course, we'll hear you later on in the episode. But as we do that, let's have one more visit with the Jackie Puppet talking to Conan O'Brien.
To prepare, do you think I should make my show more like Tom Snyder's show? Should I start taking callers or anything?
Snyder. No, I don't. What is it, Jackie Puppet? Hey, he has an idea.
I would make a Greg Kinnear puppet.
Make a Greg Kinnear puppet.
Yeah, but that's redundant.
Hey,
Conan.
Yes.
Thank you. What is that?
I'm not sure.
That's your replacement.
What is that? A test pattern?
The NBC test pattern.
Oh, the NBC. Here it is. Let me see that.
Oh man. I mean, the Jackie Puppet could not have done anything much worse than what the NBC executives did to him in 2009. So, that's... I can't hear you, Christian. Sorry.
Oh, no.
That's my fault. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
okay,
because I had a coughing fit before, and I knew to turn the mic off, but then I didn't turn it back on. So that's the problem. Yeah. No, the execs in the 90s had already done enough to Conan that he shouldn't have been surprised when the execs in the 2010s. So anyway, yeah, it's fun to definitely look back on that because Conan handles it. So the version on YouTube, it's the Howard Had an E show where they would take the radio show and they would kind of carve it up into smaller segments. So that's what that was. And I think as a Conan fan, you'll feel for him, but I don't know. He comes out triumphant because he's able to really grin and laugh about it. But in any case,
it does remind me of the ribbing that he got from Triumph the Insult Comic Dog when he invited Robert Smigel on his podcast about a month or so ago.
It's very similar that these puppets are like that puppet, and up in Canada, Ed the Sock feels like Triumph stole his whole gig. Do you know Ed the Sock? He was on Much Music up in Canada.
I barely remember that particular character. I think he was mentioned on MSU2K once. So I had to.
That's probably what it was. Yeah. Well, my buddy Cardiff Electric did an entire special on Ed the Sock for anybody who wants to check it out on his YouTube channel. And in case, Farhad, I appreciate the birthday wishes. I appreciate all of the announcing that you do. I mean, it seems like you do it every week, but you actually just did it twice a couple years ago. And I recycle, reduce, reuse, recycle. But we still have to plan that lunch to Portillo's down at Buena Park sometime in the near future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I will absolutely do that. But Farhad, if you want people to find you, where do they go to do it?
Well, my name is spelled kind of weirdly, so it's basically at let me just see if I can be able to change the settings here. No, okay, never mind. It is at FARD Fard Muhammad MUHAMMAD. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Threads and whatever the case may be. And so you can be able to find me on all of those there. And also, if you've already downloaded the HQ app, re-download it. There are instructions how to do that online somewhere, and then you can be able to see me there as well. So that's pretty much it.
If there was anybody I wanted to MC a trivia contest I was a part of, it would be you, especially if there's a late night category. It's you got questions about the Wilton North report, go ahead and direct them to Farad Muhammad. So Farad, thank you as always. Glad I was able to get one of those patented Farad laughs from you. And
so much.
Thanks for coming by, and we'll definitely talk to you again soon, sir.
All right. Until next time. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. He's a delight. The wonderful Farad Muhammad.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in such a long time.
He lives here in LA. He moved here a few years ago. I've had lunch with him a couple of times. We went to Fat Burger one time, and I forget where we went the other time. But
we should get together before I go to. Where was he before?
Chicago.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he was one of Chicagoland's favorite sons. Oh my gosh. See, he took me up on the idea of sliding into the DMs and coming on the show. It's that simple. Now, not everybody gets a Farad Muhammad treatment. I mean, he was on for, I don't know, good 15, 20 minutes. I played clips to complement his segment. And, I still break out into a sweat whenever I play clips because I'm always convinced that no one's going to be able to hear them. Even though I do a show every week where I will sometimes play 40. I'll sometimes play 45 clips. And I had like files of the clips that I was playing for Farad just now, and I couldn't find them. And I was like, I'll just play it off YouTube, dummy, So I'm like, oh, Farad, tell us something else about something else. And Farad is right. We did go to Shake Shack. So we've had a couple of solid burgers here while he's been here, and much appreciated for sure. I feel like the ordering of Fame by Misadventure has really slowed down while Farad Muhammad.
We got one from Jason Blair.
All right, Jason Blair's in. All right, and please inscribe his to see more butts. I think that's maybe just send the package to see more butts.
Make a note of that right now.
In any case, I don't want to spend too much time on this. The show as a whole. We're going to do a show probably in a couple weeks. I've gotten through a lot of the Oscar-nominated movies. I kind of touched base, and I'd seen about half of them.
Yeah,
and I've seen Zone of Influence, which you were right. It's not what you think it is. It's not a fun movie, but it is a very well-made movie. Yeah. And Anatomy of a Fall. We'll talk about it in a future episode. But
you better
she
not
killed her husband, right? She definitely killed her husband, and her son lied so that his mom didn't go to jail. I mean, that's my feeling on that movie. So, we can talk about it another time, but I'm just putting that out there. That's how I feel about that movie.
I just hope you didn't dislike the movie. If you did, then we'll have
no. No, quite the opposite. I just had my thoughts as it was ending, and I'm like, okay, but here's what I think. So. No, I thought it was great. And, we'll talk about who was nominated for Best Director of the Year and maybe who wasn't, and how I think that the directors who were nominated rightly deserved the nominations that they received. I feel like that's a fair stance to make. You can make cases for others who didn't, but that's part of the reason why this seemed to be the year that I was going to try and see all the movies so that I could actually have those opinions. Like, well, did you see this? Well, you're going to have to take my word for it because it's great, So
I still need to see the rest of the international features, as they call them now, not foreign. And I haven't seen any of the animated movies except, is Spider-Man nominated?
It is. I don't know exactly. It had some nominations. I assume it's an animated feature.
I've seen one of the movies I know.
What did you see?
I'm trying to remember what the full nomination. Let me Google it right now. Animated.
And Jason Blair wants to know who registered the copyright in your book. He's very interested in that. # ambulance chasing, because of course our buddy Jason Blair is a copyright attorney. I almost said a patent attorney, and I've had the difference pointed out to me in the past that I'm misidentifying what he does. Well, anyway, that'll be a future episode. I don't want to spend too much time playing some of these clips, but I've had them sitting around for now literally a year, and there's a reason why I'm like, I kind of want to play these for Will. Now, let me ask you what you remember about starting to do the Bladtcast, and if, like everyone else, you kind of felt like you couldn't say no, because we were all working on the Dennis Miller show at the time, and
yes.
is that the way you took it, that saying no wasn't going to be an option?
But my distinct memory was that the Nerd Talk segment always came last, and I felt like the Guy Talk segment with Coltrane always ran extra long. So I remember always sitting in that other cubicle area, like for like an hour to an hour and a half. Like, well, we're supposed to record soon.
But remember, it wasn't too long before I was just like, let's just have us all in the studio at the same time.
Yeah. But those first couple of Bladtcasts were definitely like, okay, you wait your turn kind of thing.
I learned pretty quickly. Well, for me, it was quickly. Maybe for you, it was a few long months of like, so I'm still at work, and I'm not able to get a pump on because I'm still at work.
You don't get in the way of the pump. It's very important.
No. You should never get in the way of a good pump. So we'll just play a few of these, and maybe we'll revisit it another time. I don't, you know what they say. Well, you can never have too much of a bad thing. And again, our regular listeners know that when we did that episode with Carl from Who Are These Podcasts and we played the clips, I actually put the entire Bladtcast 1 at the end of the audio version. So it's 30 minutes. Can you imagine that, Will? A 30-minute Bladtcast?
Half hour?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the goal for literally that 1 week. I was like, oh yeah. Nobody wants to hear us for more than a half hour. And by the way, that's still true.
Very quickly became a 2.5 hour podcast.
Yeah, we've already crossed over an hour now. Although if you take out me not realizing how to play clips, then maybe it wasn't quite that long. But anyway, so this is. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Will.
Said I don't think it was you. It was Liev. He was he fucked with your confidence.
He definitely did. Yeah, man. My game was strong, and then he just made me look bad in front of Bladtcast Nation. All right. And, again, I'll take a thumbs up that you're hearing it. I believe you're going to hear it. But if you don't hear it, please say so.
Oh, yes. Welcome, my friends, to the show that never starts. This is Bladtcast, or lack of a better name, which is the official full title of this little audio experiment.
Do you remember that I really leaned on the fact that I thought the Bladtcast wasn't a good name for the podcast?
I think I'd so comfortable calling it that I don't remember there being a time where it was like, well, what else are we going to call it?
Well, it took kind of a very easy comment from a guy named Cliff Schoenberg, who had been a writer on Dennis Miller's CNBC show. He just sent me a comment on, I think he direct messaged me after one of the posts. He's like, yeah, Bladtcast is a great name. It like works really well. And I'm like, okay. So I stopped that. But then this was like the thing where I'm like, the full title of the podcast was Bladtcast, for lack of a better name. Podcast.
I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Will, it is from 11 years ago. You've had a couple of thoughts in your head since then that need to, have something else. And I really lean into it in the first episode.
We will call this the Bladtcast for short, but not because that's a great name or even a particularly good name, just because we have to call it something.
And it's like, all right. But when we played these clips a year ago, Carl used it's not Troy McClure. I think it's Lionel Hutz from The Simpsons. He's like, get confidence, stupid. And I'm like, yeah. There might have been a little bit of that, because it was really the feeling of, where do I get off, Will? Where did Christian Black get off thinking that he should be doing a podcast for any reason?
And now in this day and age, everyone has a podcast. So funny enough, you were still ahead of the curve for a lot of people. I didn't have a podcast, and so I started working for Podcast One. So you've been ahead of the curve.
Well, I always have to give credit to my buddy Tom Kelly, who was literally the first person I knew. He's the first person who used the word podcast. He would have to explain it as an internet radio show. He did it in 2004. So he had a show at that time called This Show Again. He has a tremendous show now called The Tom Kelly Show, which you can find, wherever you find shows. You can find his social media on there, all that stuff. But it's also one of those things where I didn't quite understand what to do. So I would download the file onto my laptop, burn it onto a CD, and play it in my car. That was how I figured out how to get a podcast. And somewhere I think I still have a CD of not episode number 1 of that show, but I do have one of them. So so I will always give a credit to Tom Kelly, who, by the way, that means he's been podcasting for 20 years. I don't even think Joe Rogan and some of those guys can say
what
that.
About Corolla? I don't know how far back Corolla goes.
Yeah, because Corolla was like Corolla's been doing it that long because he was under that big radio contract, and then the local station in LA flipped the format. So he wanted to still get paid, but he was able to do a podcast. He just couldn't do another radio show. So yeah, he was the first one in, on that level. Obviously, Mark Maron. You have these early guys who've been doing it for a long time, but not all of them are as established as either the Bladtcast or the Motivation Report. I don't think so, anyway. And
certainly not.
You've talked about a return of the Motivation Report, right?
I brought it back. I did 2 episodes, and then now it just kind of sits there.
Okay.
It's one of those things where I'm like, there were subscribers, and so there was like a listenership built in.
Yeah,
that I was like, if there's stuff I want to talk about, I should go back to it and use it as an outlet for certain things. But I don't. I have gotten so busy that I haven't thought actively about like new episodes on a regular basis. I should look and see how many listens these past 2 episodes got, because I actually don't.
Yeah,
I don't
watch you click on it, and it's like 2.5 million listens.
No,
like,
if that was the case, I'd be seeing a lot more reviews and feedback, I think. But
that's true. That's true.
There's still people there. I think.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, but of course, we mentioned it in passing, but the Great History Rated R with you and your pal Craig.
Yes.
That's still like on an every other week schedule, right? That's the way it works. Yeah.
That has now changed every other week. Yes. We've been every week pretty much since we took a summer break because I was traveling and I was tired. But now, also busy things, just life stuff, And Craig is also like, "Do we have to do it every week?" And I'm like, "No, it's
no." Especially if like half of the show doesn't want to do it every week.
He does, he's got to do the research for the history parts, and I think he's 79. He's he's been hitting the pavement pretty hard. So I think that's switched to every other week, which is helpful for me as well.
The Bladtcast audience is salivating over this idea of like, wait, you mean every other week is an option? Like give us a little bit of a break. I'm not sure.
Wow, God.
Yeah,
that's what.
Let's revisit Bladtcast 1, where you'll hear some more of my confidence, Will.
But if you have a better name, I want you to send me an email at bladtcast@gmail.com. Do you think I assume you all know how to spell my awkward Danish last name? Yes, I do, but I'm going to tell you how to spell it anyway.
So there's the fake confidence that I'm trying to exhibit, but when you surround it with the other stuff, I think that it just doesn't land the same way if you're like playing a character who's overly confident. And here is something that did not prove prophetic at all.
Anyway, welcome to the first of what will be occasional podcast for me and the rest of the gang here on the Dennis Miller Show.
The idea that it would be occasional and I'd do it once in a while and not make you guys do it every single week,
Well, you got ambitious. And if you didn't have the lack of confidence in the name and the spelling of your name, we wouldn't have arrived at the continual now Bladtcast, the way that that just rolls right off the tongue when you spell it out all the way. It's like just a part of that. When you were on my show, I'm like, Bladtcast, that's Bladtcast.
There's obviously quite a few.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
It's built.
Sorry.
So if you didn't have, if you weren't there, you wouldn't have gotten to hear from there. You have to go over the thing.
I think what you're saying is that it's a journey, Will.
That's right. Journey Home is a book about your travels.
No, and I definitely got used to spelling it out. So the reason, and I'm going to dive to the segment with us right after this, because that's the part I really want to play for you. But just revisiting the way some of these are described. What I love about this comment on my file is that it says parentheses, listening to this makes me hate myself. So I feel like I have to play this for everyone right now.
There's obviously quite a few pictures nominated for best pictures. Ordinarily, I would call them films or movies, but since it's not best film or best movie, I must refer to it as a picture.
I don't know why I hated myself so much for that, because it's like other things were so much worse. I'm really let down by that. I was like, oh, that's not as terrible as I thought it would be. You know?
I like calling them pictures.
Nice. Yeah, I like calling them pictures. You know, I think that's pretty good. Yeah,
picture shows.
Yeah. Well, here we welcome young, and I do mean young because it's 11 years ago. Young Agent Starling finally makes his first premiere. It was a 30-minute podcast, and I did like 10 minutes by myself talking about all the movies that were nominated. Yeah. You can go back to Bladtcast 523, and I don't mean you will. I mean anybody else. I'm not expecting you to do that. If you want to hear the entire first episode, you want to hear Carl telling me that it's really hard to make fun of someone's shows to their face. So he was going easy on me. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad I'm here, because if this is going easy on me, I don't think I would be able to handle what he was going to say about the first episode otherwise. But let's welcome young 2013 Will Sterling to the show.
That's my drum roll.
That is a great drum roll. Where can we find you on Twitter? Now you have double underscores.
Yeah, I got 2 underscores. It's Will_Sterling_.
Wow. I'm going to pause that in 2024 right now. Do you remember that being your screen name that you had, the double underscores?
And it's because Will Sterling was taken by that old man who it's still taken by, and who has been the bane of our existence since the beginning of the Bladtcast, really.
Since Bladtcast 1. I think we might mention him in a second, actually.
And then Will Sterling _ at the time was taken. And so I had to do Will _Sterling _. But then I kept poking around and finding out, and I found out that Will Sterling _ was open. So I took it. And now it's just been that for so long that even if regular Will Sterling opened up on Twitter, I don't know if I would take it, because I'm Will Sterling on everything.
It's a good point. When Dennis's radio show ended in 2015, I thought about changing my online names from Christian DMZ. And then I didn't have that next job, the thing that made sense to change it to. And I'm like, well, that's still what everybody knows me from. And then Dennis did 3 years of podcasts. So it was like, okay. And then when that was over, I'm like, well, now I don't know what I would possibly ever change it to, So I feel like Christian DMZ. And every once in a while, somebody's like, oh, like Demilitarized Zone. I'm like, well, it was a premium service. It was the Dennis Miller Zone. But let's get back to 2013 Will talking about his social media.
And if you forget that second underscore, you're going to get somebody else.
You're going to get somebody you don't want to talk to. It's probably some old guy.
But you're somebody we do want to follow on the Twitter.
I am. Yeah.
You're a part of the Twitterverse.
I'll give you a follow back. I'll give you a holla back, follow back. See what I'm
follow back, follow back.
Follow back.
Will you be somebody's follow back girl, or is that pushing it?
Yeah. Only today, Thursdays.
Only Thursdays. Well, this might not go up till Friday, so that's going to confuse everything.
And I appreciate you humoring me, because for all intents and purposes, I was your boss. So you're like, that's a really shitty joke. But I'm like, oh boy.
well, we talk about uncomfortable, like follow back, holla back. I'm like, oof, that's also, I don't love that joke either. It's also funny to hear that like 11 years ago, I guess I'm still kind of a similar person, but I was clearly like, everything was a bit back then. You know what I mean? I'm like, how can we make things silly and crazy? And then I think we crossed the threshold of just like being like, this is just where we come to talk about things. It's not about necessarily like trying to make everything like a bit. So it's interesting to hear in my tone of voice that I'm clearly like trying to do a stand-up, trying to be a comedian.
Right. Yeah. No, at this time you were known as Funny Man Will Sterling.
That's right.
That was your full title.
By the way, at Will Sterling, just the at Will Sterling, the old man with the picture of his grandkids or kids or whoever the fuck, still there. Account's still there. He last tweet though, December 4th, 2022. So
That's a lot more recent than the last time we checked on him.
It's a video of somebody body slamming, checking somebody in a hockey game, and accidentally hits the ref in the face with a stick. And he says, "Ouch! These Ontario rain games are getting rough for everyone on the ice tonight. Hope he's all right." And that's it.
I'm going to go ahead and give him a follow back. I think.
Before that was October 14th, 2019.
Yeah.
And he said, "Thank you, Tesla and Elon Musk, for putting so much thought and work into making a car that I know saved my daughter's life and my wife."
Well, I'm not going to laugh at that. I was going to go into a whole thing. If he has a car that he feels like saved his life, that's great.
He doesn't tweet for over 3 years, and the next tweet that he makes is a 5-second hockey video. Like, get with it or get off.
Yeah.
I'm still mad about this 11 years later. What is this man doing? Retweeting U.S. Department of Labor tweets? God.
Will, the one of the key chunks of the conversation that I thought it would be fun to revisit is fairly ironic considering my promotion of what our next episode was. Our next episode from this one for our audio audience. It's a little ironic, and it was a big focus, probably the first year or so of the Bladtcast. And I feel like I should have a sound effect for when I play clips, but I also feel like you and I both sound so different. And also those microphones were so good that you can tell the difference when I'm playing the clip.
True.
So let's hear what we talk about here.
You've recently become enraptured in the clutches of the evil Doctor Who.
He's not evil.
You have to explain to me how you let this happen. I'm very disappointed in you. How could this have happened?
It happened sort of by mistake.
And you remember that was a thing for a long time on the show, right? I was just like, what do you do? How do you do this? That show's so bad,
How did you? I don't even remember. I remember when it clicked for you, but I don't now remember precisely what that moment was.
Well, it didn't click when I saw Voyage of the Damned, the Titanic one. But you did burn a DVD for me because this was in that age of dinosaurs on a spaceship. And I at least I get why people like it. But then I still had to come around a little bit. I felt like I wanted to know enough for the 50th anniversary. So that's when I started. I'd seen a few by then, but that's when I started watching it all the time, was that stretch, that last stretch with Matt Smith with Clara, and then Peter Capaldi was my guy. So I really liked him, even though some of the stories were, as my son Felix would say, a little sus, but he sure does.
Whoa. That was a Gen Z thing. What is his generation?
I don't know. What's the under 10 set? I've got a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I don't even know what generation that is. Somebody in the chat, let us know.
Yeah.
I want to get through the Doctor Who conversation, then we'll start to wind things down here. And there are more clips for another time, but I want to at least finish off this. I see the description, but I don't actually remember what this was. So let's enjoy this together.
Well, we work in the morning, Christian. We're house hubbies.
Absolutely.
We have duties. Once we get home, we got to have their bourbon ready when the wives come home. You know what I'm saying.
And if I don't have the one big, perfectly square ice cube in the middle of that drink, I get it thrown in my face.
That's right.
Oddly enough, your wife drives over to my house to throw the drink in my face if you make a bad drink.
Right.
My wife goes to your house.
Remember that door I walked into yesterday? That was an old fashioned, if you know what I'm saying.
That was indeed an old fashioned.
Look at us bending gender stereotypes, talking about violence against the fellas from the ladies. And, it's kind of funny. I like the idea of the one ice cube. Now, I believe our buddy Corby Pyatt, you're going to tell me he's on the shooting range, but he did just click off his camera. But Corby, did I get which way is your name correct? I forget now.
I did click off my camera. It's really windy out here. Can you hear me?
Hear you fine, loud and clear. Yes, sir.
Okay. It's Pyatt, Pyatt, Pyatt. But
I
don't
said
worry
it
about
right
it. You're
the
not going
first
to hear
time, and then it
my
just
name.
didn't sound right. I was thinking from Empire Strikes Back, Admiral Pyatt. So that's what the problem is. So you're at the gun range right now?
I am at my shooting range. It's my own personal range.
Okay. Are you gonna shoot something for us, or is it not wise to tilt the camera? Oh yeah, there you go. So it's facing that way.
It's your choice, Christian.
Oh my gosh.
It's your birthday. I'm gonna give you the choice. I'll shoot them. I'll shoot them both. I'll shoot all my steel targets. You just tell me. I want to bring some action to the Bladtcast.
Yeah, well, it's been a while since there's been action on the Bladtcast. I gotta say, for our visual audience, you got to shoot the big one. I think that Will. I feel like if he's gonna shoot something, it should be the big gun, right? I mean, that's my stance on this.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Funny story. Yeah. They're both the same caliber. They're both 9mm, but this one is bigger. So.
Yeah.
Go bigger. Go
Perfect. Well, go ahead. Let's go with whichever one you think is going to sound the loudest for our audio listeners.
All right, I will. Let me just say though, what you guys were talking about on that clip, the being a house husband. I snapped my left humerus in half last July. It's still not healed. I've spent a lot of time around the house, and let me tell you, I felt what you were saying there. I've had to learn to make drinks correctly.
You got a whole
it didn't matter that my arm was broken in half.
Oh my gosh, right. I love that. I love riffing on material from 2013. That's awesome. All right, Corby, go ahead.
In honor of California and your restrictive gun laws, I only loaded 10 into each. So normally I could load 30 in here and 20 in here, but in honor of California, I only loaded 10 into each. I'm going to shoot them both. How's that sound?
All right. I love that. I love the idea of you shooting both. I didn't even realize that there was a limit. But go ahead.
First, got to get a magazine.
Just going to have to listen.
Do you have a watermelon you can shoot?
Oh, my gosh.
I don't. There was one sitting on the counter, but going back to the house husband thing, I thought if I took my wife's watermelon out here to shoot for Christian, I would definitely be in trouble.
I think so. And what if Gallagher 2 showed up and he was ready? Yeah, he was going to do a personal event, and he's like, "I don't have my watermelon. I'm out."
Exactly. Can you see me in this position right here?
Yes, we definitely see you, sir.
Right. Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
How was it? Did you hear it?
I mean, it was great. It wasn't as loud as I thought it would be, but I thought it was going to be too loud where I was going to have to tweak the audio but you're obviously you're a great shot, Corby. And Corby, you've been around the Bladtcast, the Dennis Miller Show, the Dennis Miller Option, maybe even Red Circle Sports. I don't know. You've been around for everything. Remember Red Circle Sports, Will?
Oh God, I started that podcast.
You sure did.
I think I did like 2
I
episodes.
remember Red Circle.
Yeah, you and your old roommate, was her name Katie?
Oh yeah, went up to.
You went up to Dennis's house, and we were doing a Bladtcast while you were driving up there, and you were like, "Yes, I'm calling in. I can't tell you where I'm going," and but it'll be exciting for people when we can tell you. In any case, so Corby, do you have a favorite memory of the Bladtcast? And if it has to be from the Dennis Miller Show, I guess we'll allow it. But it's fine.
Well, my favorite memory from the Bladtcast and the Dennis Miller Show was the farewell Bladtcast for the Dennis Miller podcast. So that's definitely my favorite. It's mostly because I was on it.
You were that's right. You were on it. Yeah, that was
this episode right here just became number 2.
Yeah, exactly. Number 2 is in Second Amendment, right? Am I right or am I right, Corby? Come on.
Second Amendment. That's right.
Yeah, that's that is one of our most listened to episodes. The one that was I think it's called Out of Option. I actually don't know the episode number, but it was really Lindsay Floyd from that show and myself really just taking having guests, regular callers, commenters, friends of the show, and Corby was a big part of that, so we appreciate it. And Jason Blair does indeed remember that that final episode ended with his call to Chimp Doctor. And, we all remember Chimp Doctor. But
Jason's Chimp Doctor call on definitely was better than my content. I know when I've been beat, and he beat me.
Oh, my gosh. And Dominica Saxon has now titled this the Bladtcast because of the shooting. And both Jason Blair and Cam Egan helped us realize that this is Generation Alpha, the kids of now. Jason has kids in that same age range. And Jason's commenting, I love that the generation names are all based off our generation, Gen X. although they renamed Gen Y millennials. But yeah, exactly. Gen X is the best. That's what I'm saying. But Corby, I'm sorry to hear about your injury and the slow rehab for it, but I'm glad you're up and shooting in your backyard. And we'll say hi every once in a while on Facebook Messenger. But I really appreciate you coming and preparing a presentation for Will and I today. I really appreciate it.
I just wanted to say happy birthday to you. It was all about you, Christian. And I mean, hi, Will, too. But
it was a 2-gun salute for my my birthday. So I appreciate that.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Corby. And don't be a stranger. We'll certainly find a reason to have you back on soon, sir.
All right. Take it easy.
All right. I did not expect there to be gunplay on today's show, Will. See, that's the thing. You never really know what's going to happen on the Bladtcast.
Just wait until there's someone who shows up with a little blood play, Christian, just like I know you like.
You do remember. Yeah, exactly. And Farad, still in the chat, is in between the Xers and millennials, identifies more with the Gen Xers. Yeah, you've got an old soul, which... Will, I don't know. I think you're a millennial, but inside you're like the greatest generation. I feel like, you're like firmly somebody who belongs in post-war America, not during the war, but yeah, the films of that era, the music, all of that. All right, let's just do a couple more Doctor Who clips and I'll let you go, Will. I just, I don't want to let this loom for another year, even though that seems like it would be funny. I want to just, we talk about kind of the thing that was always my go-to when I would talk about Doctor Who in these days.
My problem with Doctor Who is always, it's going back to those old ones that I would see when I was a kid. And my mom would watch a lot of sci-fi on TV. I mean, I grew up watching the original Star Trek, which has atrocious special effects in pretty much every instance that a special effect is used. But Doctor Who, the episodes that I would see, having been made, 10, 15 or more years after Star Trek, had worse effects. And I'm like, I couldn't get past it. And at one point he wore a scarf and I'm just like, I don't know if I can get behind a superhero with a scarf. Now I know Harry Potter wears a scarf.
He's not a superhero.
Exactly. Well, neither of them are superheroes.
He's a nerd. I mean, we're nerds, but Harry Potter's like, he's not cool.
Do I need a scarf? Is that the problem?
No, you don't need a scarf.
I think that that was sage-like advice, Will. I don't need a scarf. And Harry Potter's still not cool, by the way. That hasn't changed, has it?
You're right. He's not. They keep talking about rebooting it, and I'm like, just don't bother.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I know they do. Are those sort of tangentially connected movies? The Fantastic Beasts, is that what those are called?
They are, yeah. Those are like prequels. They're same universe, but I actually saw the first one, but I didn't see the last like 30 minutes, and that was in 2017. And I remember watching it at home, going, "I'll finish this later," and I never finished it. And then now there've been 2 more entire movies, and I heard they got progressively worse. So,
well,
the takeaway was that J.K. Rowling could conceive of stories, but was not a good screenwriter, and she wrote the scripts for those movies.
Yeah, which I feel like those are legitimate criticism. Obviously, anybody who has problems with J.K. Rowling for any reason, that everyone's entitled to their opinion. But it's also when it's like, well, here's why the film is bad, is because she's not good at making them. And then it can also be, and on top of that, I dislike her. Here's a bit that we did back in 2013 where we took someone who is a fairly well-known figure today, but there's definitely a different light cast on him.
And the current one, his name is Matt Smith.
But he has a bow tie.
30, yeah.
So is he rocking the bow tie? He's trying to bring it back.
He's rocking the bow tie. I think
even Tucker Carlson gave up the bow tie though.
But because Tuck has that like sort of smarmy, like, hey, kind of look with the bow tie.
That's a good
The
point.
Doctor's quirky and weird, and he travels through space and time. If Tucker Carlson could travel through space and time in a blue police call box,
and we don't know that he can't, by the way.
If he showed up in the studio in his TARDIS and was like, hey, I'd be like, put the bow tie back on, Tucker. You are the Doctor.
Can you imagine present day Tucker Carlson traveling throughout space and time?
No.
It was a bit of a lark to you in 2013, and you refer to him as Tuck, by the way, because he was on.
Yeah.
He was a semi-regular guest host. I enjoyed those shows when he would guest host, and Yeah, Jake Tapper was Tap Tap the Chiseler.
Oh, Tap Chiseler.
Yeah,
that's right.
and then he became Tuk Tuk, and then eventually Tuk Tuk the Chiseler. And
he was.
Jason Blair just absolutely nails it right here. I've never seen Doctor Who, but are the effects worse than Babylon 5, if that's possible? I will tell you that the modern reboot of Doctor Who, the effects are not worse than Babylon 5. The problem with Babylon 5 is that it utilized CGI where it was probably 10 years too early for CGI. It all looked like, like drawings and like cartoons, and like you're supposed to feel like, oh, this is really happening, but it was bad. And my mom loved that show. I'm like, I can't. No, can't do it.
That's a huge cult following, that show.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So do a lot of things. Like cults also have large cult
yeah,
following.
I don't think they know that they're a cult following. I don't think they know they're in. I've been watching this documentary about Twin Flames cult on Netflix.
Oh boy, which one is that?
It's some husband and wife duo who promise you that if you're part of Twin Flames, like you're gonna find your twin flame, who's your like love of your life, like soulmate kind of person. But of course, it's always funny. Like in a cult, I watch a lot of cult documentaries because it fascinates me, like why people follow this stuff. As somebody who left organized religion, and it's honestly 100% of the time, as soon as they introduce the cult leader in interviews or footage or whatever, I'm like, that guy's a fucking creep, 1,000% a cult leader. But nobody else sees it. You know what I mean? On the outside, you're like, who would ever listen to this like uncool, not handsome, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but yet some people are like, he's a genius.
But that's always the thing. And I did watch that HBO documentary about Nexium and that guy, Keith Raniere, and you look at him and you're like, how is anyone listening to him? And even before you've been malnourished and brainwashed, like how is any woman like, oh yeah, but Keith, I mean, come on now.
He's like playing volleyball and he's like, oh, sorry, I'm just like, I just got off the court so hard. We're working so hard playing volleyball. It was deep squats. You got to bounce that ball. You know what I'm talking about? People are like, God, he's just a dreamboat. I'm like, ew, God, that guy's a fucking.
Yeah, he's like Chris Farley. He's like, anybody know where the gym is? You know, it's basically that. All right, I've got two more clips. I invoke the Doctor Who episode I referenced earlier back in 2013.
And I saw one with David Tennant. It's about to start, and I'm like, all right, well, this is the one that everybody says is great. Let me watch this episode. And I've been told since that I picked a terrible one to do, which right there is a problem. It's like, well, if it's so good, any one of them should be good. But I picked apparently a Christmas episode, and he's on a spaceship, which happens to be called the Titanic. And
I just watched that one.
And he's heard of the Titanic.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Kylie Minogue in that episode. That is not going to be good for me. And the robots in it were really bad. I mean, it was like rubber C-3POs.
They don't really get better than that.
Oh, they don't.
Do that. So if you weren't into those robots,
Right.
you're probably never going to be into them.
That seems fairly accurate, but I do remember them being particularly bad in that episode. They looked very
Why do you
rubbery.
hate Kylie Minogue so much? That's what I want to know. What does she ever do to you? By the way, she has a recent song out. Great song.
So my knowledge of Kylie Minogue was the Locomotion, her version of the Locomotion. And I did listen to a lot of Top 40 radio, and it definitely is one of those. We call it an earworm now, and I'm thinking about it now, and our audio audience is now going to get a little of Kylie Minogue Locomotion on the way out of the show. So I appreciate that. And Jason Blair has a great point. Tucker Carlson interviewing Putin in a blue phone booth later tonight. And he adds that Jim Jones is from Indianapolis. We're trained to spot them where I'm from now.
I want to see because I could easily see Tucker Carlson now, considering how Doctor Who has evolved and changed over the years, being like, look at this. Here's the TARDIS in 2006 when the reboot
Yeah, well,
started.
you and I talked about.
Sorry, I did not mean to start the clip. I'm still new to this. Go ahead. Sorry.
White British man, semi-attractive, but not threatening, just enough to make people feel comfortable and safe. Now look at this. TARDIS, 2024. A black gay man inside of it. This is what they're trying to do to your children, America. Look at this. Black gay people trapped in closets that are time traveling back into the past to try to turn your children gay. This is what's going on. That's what I imagine his conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And he usually does find a way, and you have to, from just a manipulative wordplay way. It's like, And I don't even know if it's true. I just think it's interesting. I just think something we should talk about.
Yeah. Not that I have an issue with it. It's just it's interesting. Don't you think it's interesting? It's said that there must be something in the water because it's turning the frogs gay. Yeah, you know.
All right, and I make what is still sort of a go-to point back in 2013 about how not everything is for everyone. It is still my stance on Game of Thrones. It's just not for me. It's fine.
Right.
I know people don't talk about it like they used to, but in this era, it was the big thing. And people would try and insist a specific series was the thing you needed to watch.
Yeah, well, you and I talked about Battlestar Galactica, and the problem was that it was too serious for you. And I think you said you watched the miniseries and like 10 episodes.
Yeah,
right?
I
So
tried.
you gave it the try, and it's like if you weren't won over at that point, I don't think you'll be won over. It does not really get much more lighthearted. It gets a lot more serious, and really a lot harder to follow. And at a certain point, when they're trying to wrap up the story, you're like, well, they didn't plan that. There's no way that that's what they planned when it started, but they're pretending they did.
Right.
Yeah, and that always comes up because you've had friends or these people that you've known who are like, "You got to watch this show," and you're like, "No, I don't like it," and
still have no interest. No interest. Too serious. I need a little tongue in cheek with my sci-fi, like
like the Doctor.
Even when I want it, like I've been falling down a Blade Runner rabbit hole recently and like going through comparing the many different versions, and not a lot of laughs in that, but Harrison Ford is inherently like has kind of a sarcastic like appearance, like a presence that it's like it's still just enough to make me feel like I'm like, this guy is kind of constantly always like, yeah, this is a little bit silly, and that's enough for me. But Battlestar Galactica didn't even have that. So
no, it doesn't. It doesn't have the smiles. It doesn't have the laughs.
That Harrison Ford.
No Harrison Ford. All right, we'll revisit Bladtcast 1 again in the future, and we will do an episode where we talk more about the nominated movies. The final thing that I'm going to show before we say our goodbyes is our buddy Zia Anderson wanted to be with us, but was unavailable, and I understood completely. I told her I was going to make a whole stink about how I couldn't believe she did it even after I did her birthday stream last week. But I do understand that occasionally real life gets in the way, so it's perfectly fine. But I did have a bunch of clips of me interacting with her on a stream she did in December that we were going to have a good laugh at, so I'm going to play one. And then the next time that Z is on, maybe we will play some more of them. But I've got one where it's for people that appreciated mine and Zia's interaction years ago at AfterBuzz. It's pretty much on brand.
Merry Christmas to a pretty girl and also to Zia. Thank you, Christian. Christian's been smitten with you ever since he saw you on my stream the first time. Which one? I think Doctor Who, maybe. He saw us talking.
Yeah, so again, it comes back to Doctor Who, and that is her friend who online is known as X-Ray Girl. But yes, I did spend $1.99 for a super chat to say Merry Christmas to a pretty girl and also to Zia.
Were they eating French fries? Were they like live stream?
So they were doing a live stream from a Friendly's in Pennsylvania. And it's really involved. So I'm going to tease that for whenever Zia's back on. I'm not going to lie. I have 14 clips to show from this live stream. Most of them are as short as that one, but there's a lot that happened and it was very involved. It was actually a lot of fun, and always love chatting with my pal Zia Landerson, and hopefully we'll be able to get her back on the show sometime soon. But what we really want people to take away is, one, it's a great day because it's my birthday, but also everybody needs to check out Fame by Misadventure, don't they?
Don't sleep.
The comment is so far back in the chat. Can you remind everybody how they can order your book, Will?
willsterling.me. Just go there. You can find it. Additionally, on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, Walmart.com, Bookshop.org, all the places, wherever you find your books online.
Wherever you find your books. That's really the key. So, and I appreciate that. I appreciate Will. Over 13 years that whenever I say like, hey, can we record a Bladtcast? the answer sometimes is, well, I'm busy these next couple days, but sure, next week. And I appreciate all of that. I also appreciate the cut of the jib. Yeah, I like the cut of your jib. Happy 21st birthday, Christian. Will needs to take you and your wife out for your first drink, brother. What a sweet thing for cut of the jib to say. Oh my gosh. But we will.
New York, where you drink bottomless beers or whatever it is.
So that is McSorley's Tavern, and you have to buy rounds and table space is at a premium. That if you stop drinking, you have to get up and pay your bill because there are people who want to drink. And I was there last summer, and I'm not built for it the way I used to, especially because I was with someone who couldn't drink very fast. So I was drinking for two, unfortunately.
And I am drinking for none now these days.
Yes.
So
and you know what?
I'll buy you a round at McSorley's, but we might get kicked off the table pretty fast.
That's all right. Now, as long as both cups keep getting emptied and refilled, it'll be fine. They won't look that closely. And
we on tap. I'm good.
We'll get into some kind of adventures in the future. And as I mentioned, our audio audience will indeed get our special about the Doctor Who specials for Disney Plus. That'll be our next episode. That's Bladtcast 584. If you want to see that, it's already on the YouTube channel. It's literally there right now because we did it like a week ago. So you can check that out.
Travel, it's already there.
Yeah, it's already there. And our buddy Raging Rhino, he messaged me that he was at work today and he wasn't able to join us, which, I mean, priorities, Raging Rhino. But thank you. Thank you for wishing us a happy birthday. Much appreciated. Raging Rhino also giving high praise to the episode that I did of the Geekscape Book Club, where we were joined by JMD Mateus to talk about Craven's Last Hunt and Creature Commandos. And then by the next time I talk to him, I'm going to have to actually, hunker down and read some of this Justice League stuff that I hear so much about. He did Justice League International, I think. So, but yeah, he was wonderful getting to talk to him. And it is a little bit of a perk of doing shows for channels that have words like nerd and geek in them, that somebody like JMD Mateus or Chris Claremont's like, yeah, I'll talk to you. I'm like, what? Really? And getting to have Jackie Martling on Who Are These Broadcasters, which our final plug will be if you want to dip out of the Super Bowl halftime show, you're not into Usher, please check out our halftime half show for Who Are These Broadcasters. It'll be on the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel. And if you're not subscribed there, just go ahead and subscribe, and then it'll pop up when it starts. I'm going to start it right at halftime. We're going to record it ahead of time, all right? But it's going to start right at halftime, and we'll make sure that everybody gets to see it. Yeah, Will, I'm recording a half-hour special Sunday morning at 6:30 a.m. because everybody else is in the East Coast. So,
You're going to do a Madam Weeb. I'm calling it that now because I believe that she's a Japanese anime and manga fan. You're going to do a Madam Weeb watch?
Yes, Madam Weeble wobbles, but she won't fall down. Yes. My buddy Eric Connor, who I don't believe you've been on a show with, but he's on a lot of my movie episodes. He and I are going in the afternoon on February 14th. So Eric and I will be 12:30 afternoon Valentine's Day movie. We are checking out Madam Web, and we'll be doing that for Geekscape. That episode will be on the 15th, where we'll talk about our romantic movie. And yeah, a movie's good, Will, when they don't do any press screenings. That usually means it's too good to let the press see.
I'm sure that's what that means.
I will tell you, they did a press screening for Morbius.
Oh,
it was Morbin time. They did that, but Madam Web, they're like, mm-mm. And Craig Robinson, pretending this is a super chat. Bow ties are cool, and so is a Bladtcast. Many happy returns. Yeah, look, it's funny to hear my closed-mindedness and my unwillingness to let the Doctor into either of my hearts. But I was a reformed man really within a year. Well, I feel like by the time because the 50th anniversary was that year, and that's a legendary occasion where we went to see the Day of the Doctor in the theater. But Liev, I think, never actually came into the theater.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So we'll talk about that. In any case, thank you, Will Sterling. Thank you, Liev. Thank you, Farad Muhammad. Thank you, Corby Piet. No, it's Piet. I know. Admiral Piet. and everybody else who was able to celebrate with us. I'm a happy man. Couldn't be happier at 48. So I appreciate that. And that's all the time we have for now. But we'll see you next time on the Bladtcast.